Coming up on today's show, we're going to react to the latest CBS Sports mock draft. They're known for some wild and wacky ones. I think this is actually a bit more measured than some of their other mock drafts. If you want me to drop a new NFL mock draft, show it by typing me in the comments section. Of note, CBS Sports is basing this draft order on the Super Bowl odds, reverse odds, obviously, so don't blame me or them, frankly. LaNorris Sellers is the pick here out of South Carolina by the Saints. The upside is tantalizing. I still need to see some more consistency. This is one of those you have to let the year play out before you decide one way or the other. But if you want the potential top 5 pick at quarterback, like our top 5 QB to take it early, Sellers is probably the best option for now, but it is very, very risky. Rueben Bain, the edge rusher out of Miami. I know Carolina drafted back-to-back edges in last year's draft on day 2, but paying for Bain is not a bad draft strategy right now because he has been dominant for the Miami Hurricanes. Was banged up in his sophomore year, awesome as a freshman, even better now as a junior. He might very well be the best player in this year's class, early version. Peter Woods and Clemson in general haven't lived up to expectations so far. But I do think a scenario where he gets back to form, Clemson has some more success, he gets more opportunities to rush passer, blah, 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 and has a big-time year down the stretch. Tennessee moves on from Jeffrey Simmons. I think all of those are very possible. I love Caleb Downs. I think he's an awesome player, an impact safety, does so many things good, oftentimes around the box too, by the way. But I don't get it for the Giants. A safety is not really that big of a need right now for the Giants. They spent a fairly early pick on Tyler Rueben out of Minnesota not that long ago, and then they also went ahead and spent some money on Javon Holland. So I think a safety, this is the issue with safety early. Is there the fit and the need? Because the Giants, if they're picking 4, were not good. Is safety the right path? I don't know. I think a lot of mock drafts are just going to put Francis Mauigoa or insert offensive tackle here to the Raiders. He's a right tackle starter. The Raiders need that. I suspect Vegas fans would be on board. Dante Moore is the pick here at number 6, the quarterback out of Oregon to the Cleveland Browns. If the Browns are drafting early, probably means Dylan Gabriel, ironically, who Dante Moore replaced at Oregon, and Shedeur Sanders may not have emerged as viable options. It's obviously very early in the 2025 campaign. There's no guarantee Dante Moore even turns pro after this season. But I have been impressed by him. The guy we saw at UCLA struggled. Maybe wasn't ready to be a starter. I think did the mature thing and said, I'm going to go learn for a year at Oregon, and has had a massive breakout season. He's young. He does not have to go pro, but in a quarterback class that I think is at least a little bit shaky right now, the play of Dante Moore has put him in potential first-round pick conversation depending on how the rest of the year plays out. But so far, so good for the talented Oregon quarterback. Who do you think is the number 1 QB in the 2026 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Number 7 is John Mateer. I actually do like the fit with the Jets because he can run, and that's what Justin Fields is doing a lot of. 7 is a little bit rich for me. There is some Baker Mayfield to his game, but he's not as accurate as Baker Mayfield is. And the thumb injury, we'll see if that limits his draft stock. He could always go back to school too, by the way. I think he is an electric college quarterback. I still need to see some in-structure stuff as a passer before I anoint him a top 10 pick. Keldrick Falk out of Auburn to the Bengals here. Man, you had some giant humans in Shamar Stewart and Keldrick Falk on the outside there. CBS put him at defensive tackle. I think he's an edge. I think that's going to be his best fit for him. That also might have been just DT because college stats are weird sometimes. It'd be another first-round pick at defensive end, but Myles Murphy has been a pretty big disappointment. Garrett Nussmeier, number 9, to the Dolphins here out of LSU. The comp remains Tony Romo. When he does some good, actual quarterbacking things that you don't always see at the college level. Sometimes it's all the very good college offense, Lane Kiffin stuff of okay, you're just doing RPOs and deep shots and screens and bubbles and you're not really doing regular readout stuff. Nussmeier does do that. There are also times it's dude, what are you doing? Like, how do you you didn't see him there? You throw it right to him. Like, there's just that 15% of bad Tony Romo that creeps into his game. Patriots get a wide receiver 1 in Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. He's off to a really good year. People aren't maybe watching because it's Arizona State and it's late night games and they fell out of the top 25 for a little bit. But I think he's off to a dynamic season. More so than I think this. It's not the same comparison. They're two very different players and doesn't carry the off-the-field concerns. I kind of get vibes of Mike Evans, Johnny Manziel with Jordan Tyson and Sam Levitt, where like Levitt and Manziel kind of run around, throw it up there, guys, and Tyson just makes the play for you. Xavier Harris has had an awesome season for Ole Miss. He is a massive human being listed at 6'8", 330 pounds. I will say, if the Cowboys are keeping Kenny Clark and they already paid Osa Odigizua, I don't know if another defensive tackle fits. Now, if they cut Kenny Clark, different conversation, that's a possibility. I wonder if just go get an edge instead is maybe a bigger need for the Dallas Cowboys. Today's show is made possible by Omaha Steaks. From everyday dinners and effortless entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steak delivers the world's best steak experience. During their early Black Friday sale, get 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites at omahasteaks.com. Plus, you get an extra $35 off with promo code NFL Daily at checkout. Terms apply, and see site for details. They don't just carry burger or steak, it's burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, even delectable desserts as well. Unrivaled quality and variety, every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Save big with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their early Black Friday sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code NFL Daily at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. It's 50% off and an extra $35 off at omahasteaks.com with promo code NFL Daily at checkout. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Number 12, the Bears take Quincy Rhodes. Look, he is off to a very impressive start for the Arkansas Razorbacks. I am a little bit hesitant to anoint him so quickly, but I do think, maybe if this was like pick 29, I'd be more like, I like a sneaky pick, but top 15 is, for now, a little bit rich for me. I love what I've seen from Mansour Delane this year. I liked him at Virginia Tech. I like him even more at LSU. Rams need cornerback help in a pretty big way. This pick, by the way, the Atlanta Falcons, part of that draft day trade. I don't know if he ends up being the first cornerback taken, but he's high on my list. I love the player in Jeremiah Love. He's awesome. Explosive, big play generator. I think has shown more as a passer this year than he had previously. That the ability was there, but the usage wasn't. I just don't know if the Cardinals are going to take a running back. They lost James Conner to injury, but they spent the second on Trey Benson. I think they got bigger issues they should probably try to address. Houston takes Spencer Fano out of Utah here. Look, if you put any offensive lineman within reason to Houston, I'm going to say, yep, sure, do it, go for it. It's still a huge problem. They tried to address it. It didn't really work. I think Fano's been a bit better than Caleb Lomu so far this year. Plug him in. Boom. I like what I've seen from Fernando Mendoza. I mentioned how Garrett Nussmeier does some real quarterbacking stuff. Mendoza does too. At times he'll maybe get a little bit too aggressive, but he does offer enough mobility. He's not a great athlete, but he can move. He can buy some time. I think the size is going to appeal to teams. He's bigger. He's much bigger than Garrett Nussmeier is. Mendoza is 6'5", 225 listed size. Nuss is 6'1", 205. I do think height matters for a quarterback. Maybe more so even than the weight also matters because you got to be able to have that body armor at times. I love what I've seen from Mendoza. I want to see how he plays out the rest of the season. He is the film nerds quarterback fan. How many quarterbacks do you think end up going in round 1 of the 2026 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. David Bailey, the Texas Tech edge rusher. I think he's a situational pass rusher. I don't know how good he is against the run, which makes him a little bit early as a 17th ranked player. I also don't know if the Vikings are going to take an edge over a corner, but maybe they just want to go pure speed and pass rush and worry about the cornerback stuff later. But a very fun prospect, the Stanford transfer there. Carnell Tate, the Ohio State wide receiver, he's had some big-time plays and big-time moments. The last couple of games that I watched him have been the most challenging opponents for Ohio State. You pair him up with Jackson Smith and Jigbo. It's kind of fun, I guess, for Seattle. I like Torrey Horton, though, a decent amount. I wonder if Seattle would invest in maybe defensive replacements or maybe they go back to the offensive line well. Isaiah World has immense talent. He's got great size. The flashes are good. The consistency maybe hasn't been as good. And I do worry about the developmental tackle going that early. I don't think he's been bad, but in an offense that can often protect the offensive lineman, I haven't seen dominance yet from Isaiah World. So it's a little bit early for me, but it is early. He might take that next step forward. Anthony Hill Jr. is next up here. That's to the Denver Broncos. I don't actually know if they need another linebacker. There are moments in coverage that I go, okay, is that actually what we're looking for? He's been a much better tackler this year, by the way. He's kind of improved that area. I think the athletic traits are really good. I know not everyone agrees with me there, but I think as a kind of like modern-day linebacker, weak side linebacker type, I think there is some potential to be really good. Caden Proctor, you're gonna see him continue to slide down mock drafts unless he suddenly takes a step forward as a pass protector. Frankly, I don't think he's been that good. I've actually been pretty disappointed in the play of Caden Proctor this year. The near fat guy touchdown was electric. Don't get me wrong, but I am getting Evan Neal vibes here. I thought he played well against Georgia, but Wisconsin, Florida State, or not, there's too many inconsistencies. There's too many times he's getting beat in pass protection. The Colts have done a good job of developing offensive linemen. I guess they could maybe replace Braden Smith down the line. I don't actually know if offensive line is their biggest need, though, frankly. Cassius House had a good year pass rusher-wise for the Aggies. The Bucks, they could potentially be in the market there. I'm fine with that one. I actually love the fit of Kenyon Sadiq with the Commanders. That's super fun. I have been impressed by him. I've seen flashes of better blocking out of Sadiq this year as well, part of a very potent Oregon offense. I think that's replacing Zach Ertz long-term with Sadiq. I know they've invested in some other picks and tight ends too. I think that's fun. The Niners are, again, super banged up at wide receiver, which kind of makes mock drafting tricky because, okay, you're going to draft another receiver. What is the actual status of Brandon Ayuk long-term? Ricky Pearsall's hurt again. Jawan Jennings is going to be a free agent soon. Kendrick Bourne, MVS, Demarcus Robinson, Sky Moore, stopgap options. Receiver is kind of a sneaky under-the-radar need, and Mekhi Lemon's been really good for USC this year. If you guys enjoy watching NFL mock drafts, come to the right spot. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. Hit that sub button right now. Dominique Orange, a.k.a. Big Citrus, one of the best nicknames in college football, to the Chargers. They did draft Jamari Caldwell in the third round last year, but you've got, he put one of those guys at defensive end if you wanted to, like that with that 3-4 front and add some more meat in the middle. I think that makes some sense after losing Poona Ford. Colton Hood, the other Volunteers cornerback, who has been really good this year, by the way, to the LA Rams. The Rams need a corner. I don't know if they double dip at corner. I don't know if that would actually be the path they end up pursuing, but he has been very good this year in the absence of Jermod McCoy. Vincent Anthony Jr., I know not many of us are watching Duke football games because a lot of us have lives. I don't. But he's been really good this year for Duke. And another edge, given the way that some of the recent picks and investments for the Chiefs have gone at edge outside of George Karlaftis. I actually don't hate that idea. Frankly, I've been really disappointed. We'll see how Ashton Gelati plays, third-round pick this year. Charles Omeni, who's a veteran, but you're not really getting anything right now from Felix and DK Yazami. He's on IR again. That one might chalk that up to kind of a sunk cost there. I would be slightly surprised if the Lions went back-to-back first-round picks at defensive tackle, although I do like Christian Miller a lot. My issue is I haven't seen the best pass rush yet, but I do think that should come along as the year continues to go. But there actually just might not be a Georgia player in round 1 on defense. They had a tough time against Alabama. They got better the second half, but they kind of struggled down the stretch there. Avion Terrell out of Clemson, the corner who Clemson in general has struggled this year. This is A.J. Terrell's brother. I don't think Avion's been that bad. He's forced a bunch of incompletions, did allow the 1 touchdown there. But cornerback help seems like something the Cowboys are going to have to go get. This would be a classic Ravens pick. T.J. Parker falls to them. I will say, look, Clemson and in general, and I'm so shocked by it because they brought back everybody from a college football playoff team. T.J. Parker has not been as good this year. Like, he has clearly taken a step back. I wonder if that's a team issue than an individual player issue, but he hasn't been as productive. He's regressed this year. The Ravens would probably fix him somehow. All right, LSU's Aaron Anderson on today's show here to the Eagles. I am kind of curious what ends up happening with the Tigers, or with the Eagles' wide receiving core. Anderson's undersized, but he is athletic. He's productive. The weird thing for LSU, and it's still early enough in the year, I don't really know who's going to end up emerging as the true wide receiver 1 when the season's over. Like, Aaron Anderson leads them in catches. Barian Browning leads them in yards. Xavier Thomas leads them in touchdowns. Nick Anderson also tied for touchdowns. They've got a lot of different options. It's been a pretty quiet year from Chris Hilton, too. I think Anderson's probably the front runner. I don't know if round 1 for a slightly more undersized wide receiver is what the Eagles should do, but they do like to spend the premium picks on these spots: receiver, tackle, edge, etc. The Bills at number 32, Jermod McCoy, hasn't played this year. I thought he was awesome in 2024. I think if the Bills could get him with that 32nd pick, that'd be a bit of a steal, which he might not last that long in the end. So grade that NFL mock draft from CBS Sports. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Some rapid-fire other draft prospects to watch. No Drew Aller in the mock draft. Look, him throwing the pick against Oregon late was just wildly predictable. I'm sorry. Denzel Boston out of Washington's having a solid season. Chris Bell's got that height, weight, speed combination everybody loves. Caleb Lomu, the other Utah tackle. I think Trevor Goosby's an underrated player. I think he's going to have a strong season here. Caleb Banks out of Florida is hurt, but he had some fans. Same with LT Overton, Denai Dennis Sutton, Mateo Uiagalelei. Those guys could easily sneak into round 1. I think Arvell Reese is actually the biggest miss on here. I have been so impressed by him this season. He's gone from Sonny Styles as linebacker 1 on OSU to, Arvell Reese is training towards being a first-round pick if he turns pro.